check myself after that one. Hello friends, and welcome to the last episode of the regular season of the Weekly Giggity. Roll that intro! Alright, let's get started with some news and notes, shall we? Now I'm going to make this quick and only talk about the Gridiron Gala news from here on out, alright? If you guys want to learn about injuries, go do your own fucking research. Though I will mention that the Ravens and Steelers game, scheduled for primetime tonight on Thanksgiving, has been postponed until Sunday morning. Corey and Tony have both officially secured their first-round byes in the playoffs. Areola has been knocked out of contention, and either Ferralis or Kevin will be our beer bitch come August. Slater, Sam, Gomez, Nor, and Jason. One of you will not be punching your ticket to the postseason after this week. We had a few trades take place. Corey gave up Kenny G for Damian Williams and a first and second round pick in 2022. Corey was busy as he also gave up Cooper Kupp to Areola in exchange for Boston Scott and another 2022 second round pick. Tony made a small deal with Nor, giving him Robert Tonyan for a 2021 sixth round pick. Wednesday waivers came through and were led by Sam coughing up $10 for Gus Edwards. He also dished out another $2 for another P. Ryan, this one being Samaje. Nor spent $2 on the Giants defense, and Tony grabbed the Cardinals D for $1. Alright boys, let's get into the weekly recap, shall we? As is tradition, it is time to shame those who done fucked us with zeros. Hayden Hurst, Matt Prater, Jared Cook, and Darrell Henderson. Fuck you guys. Alright, let's get into it, huh? Match 1, Corey versus Tony. The match of the week. Both men fighting for the number 1 seed to have the opportunity to choose their semi-round opponent. Corey didn't get off to the Thursday start that he was looking for. In fact, it was the first time that Kyler Murray failed to score 20 points this season. Corey's bottom 3 failed him as well, where Tony scored well as expected. Tony's big-name wide receivers have dud weeks, but big games from Gibson and Kelsey make up for it. These two are now tied at the top of the standings after Tony wins a close one, 102 to 104. Just a side note, Corey picked 100% efficiency with his lineup this week. The Dolphins' defense have been dominant this season against bottom half offenses, but they couldn't get to Drew Lock and the Broncos. The pass defense was pathetic, with Drew Lock having all day to throw. No sacks, a pick, and a fumble recovery right before Melvin Gordon got into the end zone gave the Dolphins an okay 7 points. Showstopper. Justin Herbert and his new haircut were again amazing on Sunday. Herbert's accuracy and arm strength, especially on deep balls, seems to get better with each week. Herbie finally led the Bolts to a win over the Jets, throwing for 366 yards and 3 touchdowns, getting 27 points. Match 2, Slater versus Gomez. Another strong and important matchup, Slater balled out with his position players having solid games. Gomez had a strong week as well, with Cam and Melvin having very good games. This one was won or lost at the top and bottom of the lineups. Slater shredded, getting 52 points between his quarterback and defense, while Gomez only scored 20, a 32-point difference when Gomez loses by 29 in a final of 128 to 99. And like Corey, Gomez also picked a perfect lineup in a losing effort. The Ravens' defense ain't looking like the set it and forget it defense it was a month ago. The Titans have a good offense, but only getting 1 point last week against the Patriots, Gomez must be worried. Ravens shit the bed with only 2 points, when on the other side, Slater's Steelers put up 22. Showstopper. Speaking of the Patriots, Deshaun Watson straight fucked them up. He looked pissed off the way he was firing bullets and ran the ball tough, just like his opponent, Cam Newton. Watson threw for 344 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 36 rushing yards and a touch, getting 30 points. Match 3, Noor versus Kevin. The Packer stack was strong for Noor yet again, as Kevin's Cincy stack ended whack. Kevin can't blame this loss on Burrow's knee, as the majority of his team was lacking in points. A lot of points were left on the bench with a 74% start efficiency this week, and that has been the story for all year for our beer bitch. Noor has solid numbers up and down, despite having 2 goose eggs, gets the win 91-74. Surprise! So my shocker here is Tyler Higbee, but not for the fact that I only got 1 point against the Bucks, but more the fact that Kevin started him over TJ Hawkinson. Hawk is the number 3 tight end over the past month, behind only Kelsey and Gronk, averaging almost 7 points a week, while Higbee is the number 42, averaging half of that. The fuck are you thinking, dude?
Showstopper.
Even though he didn't look good in the second half, Aaron Rodgers still had a solid fantasy day. The Colts are arguably the best defense in the league, and they really showed it after halftime. But Aaron still threw for 311 yards and 3 touchdowns with a pick, getting 21 points. Match 4, Areola versus Ferralis. Ferralis got out to an early lead with Russell and Hyde on Thursday night and never let go, dragging Nipple all the way down to the basement to live with him and Kevin. Areola didn't have a terrible week. A couple wide receivers were lacking, but he never really stood a chance with Ferralis putting up big numbers. 40 puts up his biggest number of the season and kicks Areola out of the playoff hunt 86-116. Juju has come to life the past couple weeks, and going against the Jags on his birthday sounds like a recipe for victory. Unfortunately, he was only catching short routes. The deep ball seemed to be reserved for Johnson and Claypool, as Juju caught 4 balls for only 19 yards.
Showstopper.
Thielen had a monster game, but I'm going to go with the Saints defense here. No defense has put up double digits against the Falcons all year, but Ferralis notices the trend and plays the hot D, and it pays off, allowing only 9 points with 2 picks and 8 fucking sacks. They get Mike 19 points. Match 5, Jason versus Sam. Jason is keeping his playoff hopes alive 1 week at a time, and this week was a real nail-biter. Bobo's wide receivers were shitty, and Sam straight didn't have the balls to start Taysom Hill. Can't really blame him there. Sam wide receivers play well, but still feel like they underperformed. Jason wins his 3rd in a row on the backs of Henry and the dog pound, and keeps his playoff hopes alive, beating the commish 102-93. Sam spells redemption G-I-O. Well, that might have changed, seeing that he has only put up 4 points in each of the last 2 weeks. Granted, they were good defenses. Gio only getting 9 carries this week against the Washington team doesn't seem like a good game plan there.
Showstopper.
Alright, I mentioned Henry and the Browns defense, but I'm going to go with Mark Andrews here, because why not? He finally has that Kelsey week that Jason talked about on the show, and found the end zone for the first time since trading for him. Andrews caught 5 balls for 96 yards and a touch, getting 15 points. Alright, boys. Final week of the season. Let's get into the fucking upcoming matchups! Yeah! Up and coming.
Matchups.
Alright. Here we go. Last week of the season. Big implications. Match 1. Noor versus Slater. Noor's return of the GG Jedi will head to Utah to take on Slater and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Slater will be looking to get out to an early big lead with Watson and Zeke going today. Aside from Watson, Slater has some tough matchups up and down the board. Nor will be focusing on the Sunday night game as he has Adams, Tonyan, and Monty all going. Early projections got this one at 104 to 109 Slater. We haven't had too many real close matchups this year, but I think this one will be tight. Both quarterbacks should ball, and I'm not fond of the running backs here. I do like Slater's wide receivers a little more, along with the steel curtain, so I'm going to go with Slater. Match 2, Tony versus Kevin. Tony's El Mariachi will head to the dungeon to condemn Kevin and his need more beer? Wave that one for the beer, bitch. Kevin is fighting for his right to demand a beer this week, and unfortunately, he has to take on Tony, who has plus matchups everywhere. With the loss of Joe Burrow, Kevin is going with Jared Goff against the Niners, and he does have good matchups with his wide receivers. Gala shows this one at 115 to 88, Tony. Herbert continues to cook, and it almost seems like Tony can't miss with his running backs this week. It would really help Kevin if DeAndre Swift can go today. I'm going to go with Tony. Big surprise. Match 3, Ferralis versus Corey. Ferralis and his hide or die will head downtown to play Corey and his, is that a chub? No, just my dick. Another tough matchup for Ferralis fighting to wear what he wants at the draft. Mike has some promising matchups with Russ and Gurley, and we can't forget that his wide receivers can go off any given week. Corey is of course leaning on his running backs, and Kyler can put up a big number after seeing what Watson did to the Pats. Projections are 97 to 118, Corey. This one could be closer than advertised if Gurley can score a couple of times and the Saints defense keep it up. Aside from Aaron Jones, Corey's squad can really go off as well, especially a hot Rams D against a banged up Niners squad. Fuck it, I'm going with Ferrari. Match 4, Sam versus Areola. Sam's Once Upon a Time in Mexico, hashtag make Corey draft again, hashtag 274. We'll bust it out to the east side to take on Areola and his Hey Mr. Robinson. As of now, Sam is starting Taysom Hill in the lineup against the Broncos. His wide receivers are set up for big weeks as well. Mike is in trouble at running back with Dobbins out due to COVID. Maybe getting Cooper Kupp will be the spark to his wide receiver core going forward. Even though it's kind of too late. Projections got this one at 101 to 80, Sam. Besides quarterback, I don't see where Mike has the advantage here. Robinson seems to be the only bright spot. Sam's wide receivers are set up with whoever he goes with, really. So I'm going to go with Sam. Match 5, Gomez versus Jason. Another matchup that can kill someone's dreams. Gomez is Josh Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, hashtag his name is my name too, will head to the stick to take on Jason, who is Kevin's Antichrist. Tom Brady seems to be the king of bounce back weeks. 3 times this year after bad weeks he has put up 20 plus points. 30 plus twice. Though the rest of Gomez's squad look to have tough games. Jason has tough matchups with Jackson against the Steelers and Henry against the Colts. Though he can put up another big number with the Browns D against Jacksonville. Gala shows this one at 100 to 105, Jason. If Josh Jacobs gets more utilized in the passing game, then he could really be big against the Falcons. Mike Davis and Debo for Jason here are good. But I think Brady and Waller will blow up and end Jason's hopes. I'm taking Gomez. Alright, fellas. Let's get into the motherfucking power rankings! It's the weekly power rankings! Alright, fellas. Now, Corey didn't get the power rankings to me this week, so I'm going off of the Gala's rankings again. And just so you all know, this is the last power rankings of the season. I don't see any point in doing power rankings during the playoffs, so hope you enjoy it. Number 10, Kevin Wallen. With the loss of Burrow, Kevin must be accepting the good chance at back-to-back beer bitchdom, and must be worried about trying to get that number 1 pick. A win against Tony this week would be huge for our wizard bitch. Number 9, Michael Areola. That's right. No Christian McCaffrey or Mostert was a real bummer for this otherwise strong roster. Juju didn't play up to salary, and that caused Mike to lose out on a chance for a ring this year. Fun fact, his only position player with more than 100 points thus far in the season is free agent pickup James Robinson. Number 8, Michael Ferrales. I don't know if I could say it was a string of bad luck when it was 9 goddamn weeks in a row, but Mike did have it tough this year. Needing a win against Corey or a Kevin loss to avoid beer bitch. Eckler coming back soon could be good news for getting that number 1 overall pick. Number 7, Jason Bursays. Jackson not playing like a franchise tag and shuffling running backs all year didn't help the Gala's ginger. Though his playoff hopes are still alive after 3 straight wins, being behind in points, he basically needs the win against Gomez to enter the free-for-all. Number 6, Nor San. Playing quarterback roulette with Allen and Rodgers has worked out well for Nor this year. His running backs haven't played up to snuff, especially Connor, and Kittle going down didn't help either. A loss this week for Nor doesn't mean that he's knocked out for sure, but he doesn't want to take that chance. Number 5, Alejandro Gomez. The Gala's Raider has done solid this year, and he's not out of the woods yet. Jacobs, Brown, and Waller have been the linchpin for his success, and a solid scoring week with a loss should still net him a playoff berth. Number 4, Sam Nix. The commission has done well with his shitty running back committee and bad quarterback play early. Big Ben has been hitting his stride, and the wide receivers have been hot all year. We'll see how leaning on the backs of Gallman and Gio fare for our fearless leader moving forward. Number 3, Alex Slater. Bulking up his wide receiver core with a few late season trades could be big for Tishy moving forward, though he could still use the win this week to move on. Maybe Zeke will get back to RB1 status with Dalton under center. Only the future will tell. Number 2, Tony Feinstein. Clinching a first-round bye with a win against Corey last week was huge for the Bronze Bomber. With possibly the pickup of the year in Herbert balling out and the running backs in Kelsey playing great, Tony can be optimistic and look forward to the semis. That just leaves number 1, Corey Hart. Never giving up the top spot all year, Corey has been a force all season. Dumping a couple of wide receivers for some running back depth could be the smart move, as it seems he is prepared for the worst moving forward. Losing to Tony does leave the number 1 seed up for grabs, but either way he gets to relax for the next 2 weeks as well and prepare for the semis. Alright boys, last week of the regular season, 2 people's dreams are really going to be crushed. One's not going to make the playoffs, and one's going to be wearing some stupid ass shit serving the rest of the guys beers come August. Ferrari, Kevin, who's it going to be? So you guys know we have Noor, Sam, and Gomez separated by only 12 points. Slater is just ahead of Noor by 24, so he's got a little more of a cushion there. But those three, it's really tight. Jason basically needs the win. He's down 31 to, I think, Gomez. Have a happy Thanksgiving, boys. And have a happy Sunday as well. Gridiron season is just about over. And I wish you all well. 100 proof. Like my whiskey. And my moonshine, am I right? Fuck y'all, I'm out.